What's going on, everybody? Susie Pops, Doodlebug, Norma Thomas, Carla M. How we doing, guys? It's good to see you. Yeah, I got a different setup going on here, as you can see. Yeah, this room is kind of weird. It's like a guest room. Let me try to center. That's better. Hey, Miss Lee, Jack's mom. Wow, a lot of folks. I don't know, yo. Everybody ends up in Facebook jail. I've never been in Facebook jail, but it's weird. Like Danielle ended up in Facebook jail, and I don't even get like how that happened. You know, it's she doesn't share anything like weird or controversial, really. I mean, she covers true crime, but I mean, you may not agree with her, but she's not posting anything inappropriate or anything like that. So I find that pretty strange. Yeah, I'm in Atlanta right now, which I used to live here, and I'm visiting some friends, and I'm having a really nice time. But I brought all my stuff to do live streams, and so I figured I'd hang out with you guys a little bit today, see how everybody's doing. Interesting. So you're saying, Doodlebug, you're saying that the Facebook jail thing has been happening to people who are following the Gannon Stalk case. That's interesting. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy in any way, shape, or form, really. But it's that is kind of coincidental if you think about it. Right. Exactly, Doodlebug. Yeah, I mean, that's subjective. Your point of view is subjective. But hence the title of my live stream. Hey, Carrie, I am having an amazing day. I hope you're having one as well. Thank you. So I titled this "Get Real" just because it was funny because I talk to you guys a lot about kind of how I handle myself and how I deal with particular situations, and I think it's important to I would rather be disliked for who I honestly am rather than be liked for something I'm not, because there's nothing genuine to that. And I was having a conversation with a kid. He's 19 years old. It's my friend's son, who I'm hanging out with here, and this kid is he's super focused, and it's nice to be around that kind of energy, that kind of somebody who is just constantly, and I have that around me where I live too, but it's refreshing when you see it come from a kid. It's refreshing when you feel like this generation is kind of entitled. They don't really want to put in any hard work, and you see that a lot. But it's not everybody. And the fact of the matter is economically the country's in good shape. There's work. There's plenty of work. There's an abundance of work wherever you go, for the most part, and so there's no excuse. there's really no excuse. I'm real big on holding yourself accountable. I like to hold myself accountable for any position that I'm in. I don't like blaming other people for my problems. I don't believe in blaming other people for my problems. And so I get irritated when I see other people blame others for their problems. Can someone's actions affect you and where you are? Sure, they can affect it. But um, what we fail to think about is how much it affects us long term. That's why I don't believe in in people who victimize themselves on a constant basis. You hear that a lot. You hear a lot of people play victim a lot, and I don't. I just the thing is I realize that people have been through horrible things. Horrible things happen to people. I get it. I'm not trying to minimize that at all whatsoever. But you're a victim. You're victimized by someone else once. You know, the act itself is where you're victimized. How you choose to deal with it moving forward is on you and you alone. It's no longer in that person's hands anymore. The person who you choose to blame for your issues, it's no longer in their hands anymore. It's in yours. So I don't find a lot of sympathy for people who are constantly going back to things where they feel as though they were victimized in some way. And I get it. You know, we all have things happen to us, but am of the belief that it's completely up to me how I allow it to affect me on on the grand scheme of things, in the long term. So I just don't. I simply don't believe in in wearing that victim card for extended periods of time, and I don't think it helps anyone. Um, does it work to be able to sit around and use it as an excuse to not do things? At the end of the day, that's all it is. It's just an excuse to not get something done. So it's refreshing when I see a kid who's 19 who's just hustling and he wants to just do everything that he possibly can. He wants to be he wants to be him at 100%, which I thoroughly enjoy seeing, and I thoroughly enjoy being exposed to that. What's up, Mojo Joe? So yeah, this kid, he has a gym membership, so I got to go and work out as his guest, and it was a really nice gym. And I've been hanging out and I've been having a good time and I've been drinking and having a good time and everything. But the last 2 nights, but yeah, I can't do that every single night, you know. And even though I am kind of on vacation, you know, I got a 3-day weekend, so I don't feel like it's I don't know if I do that for too many days in a row, like 3, I'll feel like a total piece of shit, especially if I don't exercise. So it's really important that I exercise. And it was cool to go to the gym with a kid who's got the same mindset that I do, and he's just a kid. I mean, you know, he works full time. He's in the Marine Reserves. He I mean, he drives a BMW. You know what I'm saying? This kid has accomplished a lot, and his attitude is the proof of that. There's no sitting around going, I didn't get this break or I didn't get that break, and nobody helped me with this and nobody helped me with that. He doesn't give a shit about that. He just gets out and works. So I respect that. I respect that in somebody who's 19. I respect that in somebody who's 50, or 60 or 70. You know, I absolutely respect that type of thinking. So it was really, really cool to. It's really cool to be around that. And the youngest girl, she's 14 and she's a certified genius. I look forward to actually having a conversation with her. I kind of want to do a live stream and talk stuff. I mean, what do kids today? A lot of us are parents, right? Uh, I mean, type of one, if you've got a teenage kid, I want to see how many people have teenagers for kids right now who are listening. What's up, Barnyard Hard? Amanda Sue. Oh, you had to scrub your bath today. Okay. All right. So far, I've only got Sassy Tech. I've only got one teenager, one mom to a teenager here. But um, I figured it would be a cool thing to interview her or at least just have a conversation with her live here because I feel as though she is highly intelligent because she's smarter than most adults I know, but she's also dealing with the stuff that kids are dealing with today, the pressures and the things that they're exposed to and how it affects them. So I thought it would be interesting to get her perspective on these everyday things that we have trouble relating to because we forgot what it was like to be that age. So one of these days, maybe tomorrow or later tonight, or maybe I'll just panel with her when I go back. But she's hanging out with her friends right now and all that stuff. So, um, yeah, I I've been thinking a lot about what accountability means to me, and it's one of those things that it's like I don't know how many of you saw, but I was on Darling Nikki's live stream a few nights ago, and we were on panel with someone else. I don't want to mention her name, but we were on panel with someone else, and it was an interesting conversation. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, Dory. It was an interesting conversation because this person, it was so difficult for them to take any accountability for their actions. Now she did, at the end of the day, at the end of everything, it turned out to be a really productive interaction. It was really nice. And the issue is, it was funny because I saw the same person on somebody else's panel and I found the conversation to be excruciating because it could have been real easy. It could have been real easy. And the one thing that made it difficult, wow, thank you, Yolanda. That's really nice. Thank you so much. The thing that made it so difficult to deal with and listen to was because this person was having such a hard time seeing her end of everything. Because here's the thing. Look, if you've got issues with so many different people, right? I mean, if you're in a room full of a bunch of people and everybody in that room seems to have a problem with you, then chances are you're probably responsible for some sort of shitty behavior. And the first step is realizing it and then taking accountability for it. It can't. I mean, I was sitting there and I was listening and I kept hearing, well, this person did this, and what about when this person did that, and when this person did that, just naming a bunch of names that I was like, but at what point are we going to talk about the things that have gotten you to the point where everyone is trashing you? So there's no accountability there. It's the same thing with the Gannon Stock case. At no point do you ever hear Tisha Stock take any accountability for her actions. Now, I'm not saying that she committed a crime. We don't know that yet. I'm definitely not one of those people that's going to sit here. We've gone over this and over this. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Tisha and imply that she's guilty of a crime, because I just don't. I think that's irresponsible. A lot of channels are doing that. That's just not the direction that I want to go. So I don't see that as being productive in any way whatsoever. But the fact that whenever you see her interview, the thing is it makes it real easy to dislike her. And the reason why it's easy to dislike her is because she won't take any responsibility or accountability. The bottom line is Gannon was in her care. There's no doubt about that. She was the last person to see Gannon. The dad was out of town on business. She was the last person to see Gannon. She is his stepmother. He lives with her. She's the adult. He's 11 years old. She is responsible for him and his care and safety. And yes, I completely agree with you, Sassy. I completely agree with you. So far, yeah, I'm with you. I definitely, in the court of public opinion, I am going to be one of the first people to go, she is absolutely guilty of being an asshole. Totally. Did she commit a crime? I'm not there yet. I don't know. And it's been 3 weeks. Doodlebug has just, brought this attention to the chat here that it's already been 3 weeks since Gannon has gone missing, and there still is not a criminal investigation to our knowledge. So we don't even know what the hell happened. I think that law enforcement knows more than what we do right now, and more than what they're telling us? Absolutely. I absolutely think that law enforcement knows more. But I until they say that a crime has been committed, then I'm not ready to jump to that conclusion just yet. Um, and there's a lot of people that are, and that's okay. I'm not trying to tell people what to do or what not to do, I mean, but it's when you look at I mean, there's just madness going on when it comes to this stuff, and I just don't, I can't get on board with that. I just want to know the facts. All I want to do is keep my hopes up that Gannon will be found alive and safe. And so I kind of refuse to jump on, because the argument is normally, being realistic is different than holding hope. You can be realistic and still have hope. I'm not denying that. Of course you can be realistic and still have hope. I just don't necessarily think it's right to say that something happened. I don't think it's realistic to say that when you don't know. When you really don't know, when you see signals that say they may or may not be the case, where a crime may have been committed and maybe even likely has been committed, but you still don't have facts to say that that's actually the case, then no, it's not being realistic. I don't believe it to be being realistic at all. And I love all the blue hearts coming from everyone, because I absolutely still have hope that Gannon will be found safely. I think it's very, very frustrating, and I understand everyone's frustration. Like I will listen to Danielle's channel, which I absolutely love, and I love her, and I love her tenacity for finding truth. And it's really inspiring. But at the same point, I mean, I'm not ready to jump to any conclusions. and a lot of people on that channel are like people in the chat, and I get that. I do understand it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I feel like that would the cost of doing that is giving up hope, or at least a certain amount of hope for Gannon, and that Gannon will be found alive and safe. So I'm hoping when they're searching in all these areas, they're searching in and these wooded areas and these places out in the wilderness, in Colorado in the cold. I'm just hoping that somebody has him in their house. They're feeding him every day. I have hope for that, and I can't give up on that hope yet. And then, well, that's a different story, Norma Thomas. It hasn't been 4 years. It hasn't even been a month yet. So I'm not ready for that. I'm just not ready to do that. And I think it's for the sake of his family, for the sake of his parents. I think it's important for us to maintain hope too, because they're holding out hope. And it's not unfounded to hold out that hope, because again, they don't have any information that would lead to them thinking, at least not that we know of, that would lead to them thinking that that Gannon is no longer with us. But I refuse to buy into that narrative just yet. I'm just not ready for that yet. But yeah, going back to what I was talking about, I take issue, because the thing is here's this missing boy, and his stepmother who was responsible for taking care of him. He was last seen with her. She confirms that he was last with her. And she confirms this. So I absolutely hold her responsible. She's the adult. He's the kid. He was in her care. And the reason why people are not liking her on the internet is because she has yet to take any responsibility for this. She has yet to acknowledge the fact that he was her responsibility. I mean, every interview that she does, well, the one interview that I saw, there's that interview, and then there's all these Facebook posts, and every chance she gets, she trashes the birth mother. She trashes Landon, and I don't think that that's appropriate. So how does she expect everyone? Does she think that by publicly trashing the mother of a missing child, who only publicly has said anything regarding how desperate she is to find her missing child, it's not a good look to trash this person? It's not a good look to publicly go undisputed truth. Interesting. Maybe I'll do that. So, I don't think it's unrealistic right now to have hope for Gannon. I don't think it's unrealistic right now, but people are really, really upset about the fact that he's missing, and not knowing what his well-being is, what state his well-being is at right now. And this is really upsetting me. It's upsetting everyone that's on here talking about it. It's upsetting anyone who's following this. And this person does absolutely nothing to make it better. She has no, she doesn't seem to be upset about the fact that Gannon is missing. She seems to be upset about the fact that people are holding her accountable. And she is accountable. I'm not saying, again, I'm going to repeat this over and over again, so I'm sorry if it gets annoying, but I am not holding her accountable for a crime that's been committed, because we don't know if a crime actually has been committed. But I am holding her accountable in the sense that she was responsible for Gannon and his safety. She was supposed to be taking care of him. and she has not given us a straight answer as to what could have possibly happened to him. So I'm highly upset by this, and I know we all are. And I think she owes us. Uh, I think she owes us uh, uh, an explanation. I think it's. I don't think it's. I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to ask for at this point. And I know it's not unreasonable for Landon. Uh, I know it's not unreasonable for her. I know it's not unreasonable for her father, for Gannon's father. Let me see, right. And that's the thing. There's also this stuff, I get it, Johnny. You're right. But I don't. There's also this stuff regarding her being kicked out of the house. The only reason we know, this is the thing about this is what makes Tisha such a frustrating person to follow, because even though we know that she's no longer living there, we assume that that's actually what happened, because in her interview, it's her that says it. It's her that says, I was kicked out of my own house, right? So we assume that that's actually what happened, but we're also talking about somebody who also says in the same exact interview, she says that law enforcement deprived her of her rights. They deprived her of being able to have a lawyer present. They deprived her of of being able to use the bathroom. They kept her against her will, even though she wasn't under arrest. I find that difficult to believe with how law enforcement seems to be handling this case so far, and how they seem to be handling, playing this so close to the chest, and keeping everything on the hush hush. I seriously doubt that they would screw something up that major by denying someone their rights. I mean, that's the first thing they do is read you your rights if you're under arrest. And I'm guessing that she probably felt interrogated, but I seriously doubt that. Yeah, I agree with you, Johnny. She is full of it. I don't think that they deprived her of any rights. So, here she is playing victim when it comes to law enforcement, right? But who's to say that she wasn't playing victim when it came to the situation at her house? Who's to say that she didn't sit there and give him an ultimatum and say, hey, it's either her or me that stays in the house, but I'm not staying under the same roof as her. And so he was probably like, well, all right, well, fuck you then, leave. That's not kicking her out. That's her giving an ultimatum and him just simply not meeting that ultimatum on her terms. So we don't know if that's what happened. We know that we have somebody who loves to play victim, and we know that we have somebody here who has some sort of vendetta against some serious jealousy issues when it comes to Landon. And that's not, it's not the time for that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the fucking time for that. Right now, it's time to focus on finding Landon. It's been 3 weeks, lady. Can you at least, if you're going to post dumb shit on social media, can you at least post something that is in some way helpful towards finding Gannon and bringing him home safely? Or if he's not safe, at least something that brings closure to this situation, because she's definitely lying. She's definitely lying. But the thing that I'm just not 100% sure on is why she's lying. What is the reason behind her lies? That's what I'm getting lost on. I don't know what her motive is for lying. I don't know if it's to cover up a crime that was committed. I don't know if it's to avoid responsibility for simply losing him when it was her that was responsible for him. But one way or the other, she's responsible, and she's not taking any accountability here, and it's making everybody pissed off. And it sucks because I'm sitting here and I'm defending this this and it's causing me to have arguments with logical people, with rational people. It's causing us to have irrational disagreements over the fact that she's making herself look guilty of something. We just don't know what. Let's see. 1 hour dry floors. You're saying, think about it. If she was focused on finding Gannon, she'd be focused on finding Gannon, not focused on all this other drama. She's clearly not focused on finding Gannon. Why is that? I completely agree. But I explore that in my head all the time. Why is she not interested in finding Gannon? Is it because she's responsible for whatever happened to him? Possibly. Likely even. But we don't know that. It could just be that she is just someone, hey, being there. It could just be that she is simply somebody who cannot seem to take responsibility for her actions, who feels guilty about losing him and just is in the habit of deflecting constantly. Just, no. You can't come at me with that shit. That's not my fault. That person should have been doing this and that person should have been doing that. And why is that person? I'm the one taking care of this boy and she hasn't done shit. She's a drug addict, blah, 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 blah. None of that shit matters, Tisha. None of that shit matters about Landon. We don't care about that. None of us care about that. So stop posting shit about it and help us find your stepson. That's what we need from you. Period. We don't need anything else. We don't need any information on your personal life. I don't give a fuck. I don't care who you're fucking now, who you were fucking before. I don't care who Landon fucks. I don't care what's going on. I don't care if all I care about right now, we can worry about who's a fit parent and who isn't after Gannon is found. That's the stuff we can focus on later on. We have, I don't know what you call it in Colorado. Around here, we call it DFACS, Department of Children and Families, and we let them worry about these things. But the most important thing right now is to figure out where he is. So, I mean, yeah, they're looking for. They're definitely looking for let's do this together. I haven't done this all day, so let's see if we can find any updates on Gannon. Let's see if we can do that. So we've got all right, couple that are 2 hours old. Let's see what this says. It's an article here. I saw also there was like an FBI, a retired FBI guy who stated his let's see. There's not a video here to play, but okay, so this was 5 days ago. Let's see what this says. This was 5 days ago, but I did not seen this yet. This is from Daily Beast. So it says here that Colorado police say they don't believe that. Oh, I gotta hit ad blocker. Oh God, that's annoying. Okay. All right. So, sorry, the ad blocker thing is a pain in the ass. So Colorado police say they don't believe that 11-year-old Gannon Stock, who has been missing for more than 2 weeks, was kidnapped as his stepmother suggested. If there was a threat, it says here that, let's see. God, this computer sucks. If there was a threat of some sort of public safety statement, if there was an abduction of some sort, if that information was revealed to us, we would absolutely put that out. Sergeant Deborah Minat of the El Paso County Sheriff's Office told People magazine. She also added that there is no threat to the community. So Tisha was the last person to see Gannon. She told police he left their Colorado Springs home at 3:15 on January 27th to walk to a friend's home. And that when he didn't come home 2 hours later, she reported him missing. Let's see what else she said here. So Saturday night, G was helping me unload in the garage and cut his foot because there were a lot of tools because Albert does woodworking, the statement said. He sat on the edge of the car and we bandaged it up. He was good to go. He always loves helping his dad in the garage build things like his Lego tables and the flower pot they built for me as a gift. After this, I noticed G kept going to the side of the house. He told me he was checking to see if the gate was locked because he was the only one with the gate key. It made him proud to be the man of the house while Albert was away. So that's interesting. See, what kind of bullshit is that? What kind of bullshit is that? So Kelly girl, you're saying that she came on panel. She should come on panel. She mentioned on Facebook that she would tell what happened. I'd love to have her on panel. That'd be fantastic. I would absolutely love that. Because so far I'm the only one that seems to be trying to steer people away from the narrative that she actually committed a crime. Only because we don't know yet. So I would but the chances of that are fucking slim to none. Yeah, I get it, Janelle. I feel the same way. But what kind of bullshit is that she mentioned on Facebook that she would tell what happened? That means she knows what happened and she'd explain what happened if the bashing stopped. What kind of bullshit is that? What kind of shit is that? What kind of a person says yeah, you know what? Fine. Not until you stop talking bad, though. I'm not going to talk to you until you stop saying these bad things. Nope. I mean, it's childish. It's fucking childish, and it pisses me off because now she's basically, if that's true, if what you're saying there is true, Kelly girl, then what she's basically doing is holding everyone hostage here. And basically taunting us and saying that she actually knows what happened and that she'll tell us if everybody stops talking bad about her. So yeah, the cops know, but it's a question of the cops have to know, but it's a question of was there a crime that took place? That's what's going on here. But if the cops knew, then why would they be looking all over creation? Why would they waste man hours on searching for him as much as they are? Yeah, I mean, and that's the stuff we got to pay attention to as well, Chicken Little. We don't know. That video is so grainy. That video is so grainy for me to say, oh, that's proof of something. The police haven't even acknowledged that video of being proof of anything. So yeah, and she's definitely deflecting, Jane B. I completely agree with you there. Um, but yeah, I think that they're just trying to build a case because it wouldn't make sense to me that they know exactly what happened. And they haven't put anyone in custody yet because somebody is responsible. And if it was an accident, that would have been out already. If it was just simply an accident, then we'd know where he is, and we would we'd know where he is, and we would and it would just be out there. The information would just be out there. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I don't know how I feel about that, Carla M, because it's funny. This is one thing that Danielle and I actually agree on. Like if someone, the lie detectors just aren't completely accurate. They just aren't. That's a fact. Um, so it's not proof of anything. That's why they're not admissible in court. And if I would never, ever, ever volunteer to take a lie detector test, never, no matter what. I just I wouldn't volunteer to take a lie detector test because anything could happen. You could fail it, you could pass it. Who knows? You could be having a bad day. You'd be stressed out about something. A question that they ask you could trigger some sort of response from you, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're lying. I just no, because too many people invest in how much a lie detector can can judge someone's accuracy. Hey, what's up, Lufa? So I'm just not. I'm simply not convinced of that. Um, so and yeah, emotions are all over the place. I mean, it's crazy to it's crazy to see people comment uh and say that they're tired and they need a break. You know, I feel the same way. I feel like there's no progress in where this case is going. There just doesn't seem to be any progress in where this case is headed, and yet we're it's the same thing over and over again. And there's this person who we know seems to know more than what she's saying, and we need to, and we want to know why the screws aren't being turned on her. Um, let me see something here. Surely the police, YouTube monitors. Okay, surely the police could arrest the stepmother on the evidence the police have, but we don't know what evidence the police have. Um, one, negligence, two, abusive, three, lying on facts that are misleading the police, and so on. I mean, that's the thing is, it's not so much what you can arrest someone for. That's not what law enforcement goes for. Law enforcement gets the okay when it comes to cases like this. Law enforcement gets the okay from the DA, from the prosecution, and the prosecution will only let you arrest them for something that they can convict on. So if they don't feel like they can get a conviction on it, they're not going to bother. They're not just going to hold somebody just to hold them. You can't do that. So, I mean, negligence, who knows? I mean, was she being neglectful? We don't know if she was being neglectful. She could have turned her back for a split second and somebody could have taken him. That's not neglect. Uh, Abusive. Do I think that in that video that she made, first of all, I don't buy for a second that video was accidentally made. If I'm going into my phone here and I'm trying to make a video, I've got to open up an app and then open up an app within that app. I have to like go to camera and then I have to go to video camera, turn that on. I'm not going to accidentally get that. And I'm not going to accidentally get a recording of what was going on in particularly that day or that night. There's just no way. There's just no way. I'm definitely not going to be accidentally just so happen to catch a child crying and then I think what she was doing was, I it's funny. People are throwing the word abuse around a lot. Do I think that she was possibly abusive? Yeah, for sure. I think that she was enjoying um, the kind of leverage that she had over Gannon in that moment when he was crying and she was saying, well, now I'm going to have to sell something. Are you happy about that? Now I have to sell something to cover up what you did. That I think can absolutely be considered mental and emotional abuse. But then I've gotten into it with people in Danielle's chat where people say it's abusive to talk bad about another parent. Like, yeah, in a custody court or in divorce court, the judge is going to look at that and say that's fucked up. You can't do that. But they're not going to take your kid away for trash talking an ex. I mean, that's the way that is. So many people do that. That's not child abuse. Is it good for the child? Absolutely not. Is it fucked up even? Absolutely. It's completely and totally childish and nobody should be doing that. But to call it child abuse is a touch much. So I'm sticking with that. I don't think that's that's uh, there's certain things that can absolutely be considered abuse. It doesn't have to be physical, but that doesn't necessarily put the child's well-being in danger. It's just something that a kid shouldn't have to listen to or put up with. And so, but that doesn't necessarily make it abusive. So yeah, and I don't know what she did. I find it suspicious that she felt the need to record because, like I said, I don't buy for a second that it was an accidental recording. But I do think that there's a reason why she felt the need to record. And here's the thing: is I don't. People are making her out to be some sort of criminal mastermind here, and this woman is not that intelligent. From what I see, I don't see it that way. I don't see her being this criminal mastermind. I mean, she's not a good liar. She's obviously lying when she's lying. The reason why we know she's lying so much is because she's fucking bad at it. She sucks. So, a narcissist or someone like that, they're manipulative masters, man. She's not a manipulative master. She tries to be manipulative. She just fails miserably at it. So she's not that intelligent. So people making her out to be like, oh, well, she committed the perfect crime. Well, no, she didn't. I think that something happened. I think that something personally right now, what I choose to believe is something happened accidental. Or I don't know. But I really hope that he's okay. And I really want him to be okay. And yes, she is Norma Thomas. She is a teacher, but she's had her teaching license revoked. Danielle actually on one of her lives. See, that's why Danielle's the channel to go to on this stuff. Because whether you agree with her or not, whether you agree with the narrative that's going on in that on that channel, whether you agree with that or not, she is showing some very factual documents and going over them as fact. That is absolutely true. And I absolutely love her channel for that, because she actually went over the document where her teaching license was taken away, and as to why. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to me that this is what I'm saying is I don't think that she's people are on to her too much. People aren't realizing there's this one thing that everyone seems to have in common when it comes to her, or what she seems to have a consistent thing going on with her, is that she consistently is not truthful, and people are consistently on to her for being untruthful. So uh, we're, you know what I mean? A criminal mastermind, none of us would be on to her. None of us would be on to her. Um, and yes, she was the last person to see Gannon. Um, what are you asking me here? Could I drop a link? Oh, for Danielle, yeah. Give me a second. Let me do that. Her channel is called Real Massacre Talk, and I panel with her from time to time. So I very much enjoy talking with her. Um, we just don't agree all the time, but that would be pretty boring if we agreed on everything, wouldn't it? So, but yeah, I'm a big fan of the way she handles things, for the most part. Uh, but she covers lots of different cases, not just this one. She's definitely focused on this one, and I feel bad for her because she burns herself out, man. She follows so many cases, and she covers them so thoroughly. Um, so it's crazy to me. Um, okay, so I'm dropping the link there. Oh, Doodlebug already did it. All right, so I dropped the link there to Danielle's channel. So go ahead and subscribe to her if you want like deep facts about the Gannon stock case. Um, so yeah, right, Raquel. I completely and totally agree with you. Um, that narcissists are much more slick. I mean, it's in their nature. They have to try to be slick all the time. So they're just good at being slick. It's a personality trait that narcissists have. I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a licensed a person licensed to diagnose anyone of any type of uh, uh, you know mental issues or emotional issues. I'm just not, I'm not qualified to do that. But I know a little bit about narcissism, and I do know that that's one of those very, very common traits. And she does not seem to have that. She's definitely self-absorbed, but self-absorbed does not mean you're narcissistic. Self-absorbed just means you're a selfish asshole. She's a selfish asshole, in my opinion. So, oh, it's my pleasure, Chicken Little. I'm glad. Yeah, do yourselves a favor um, and subscribe to her if you haven't already. Um, yeah, she's too worried about her image. But what's so funny about that? If she was a narcissist, Carla M, and being so worried about her image, as you put it, um, if she was a narcissist, she'd be better at presenting her image. Her image that she's presenting to everyone is obvious, and it sucks. It's a fucking horrible image. She's coming off like shit to everybody. So, yeah, it's kind of mind blowing. So, yeah, I think it's, um, yeah, yeah, we shouldn't be making labels um, and labeling people of these things because we're not qualified to do it. And even if I were a psychologist or a psychiatrist or uh someone who is you know qualified to make these kind of diagnoses, then I still couldn't do it because I feel like I would have to actually sit down and talk with the person. You can't you can't you can't diagnose somebody based on watching one interview with them. You can't sum them up. So that's impossible. Um, that's impossible. You can't do that. Um, why can't I find any? Yeah, here we go. So yeah, a lot of YouTubers are covering this case, man. See, I don't want to stream anything from YouTube because it's really just people's opinions. I mean, it's the same thing as me coming on here and saying what I say. It's not. It's not my place. So you did years of psychiatry being there. Right. Narcissists fool people with who they really are. She ain't fooling anyone. I completely agree with you. She's not fooling anybody. So yeah, I'm not jumping on that bandwagon that she's a narcissist. And honestly, if I'm being real, the people that I have heard say that she's a narcissist are not exactly the kind of people that I agree with on a lot of things. Yeah, they're not people that I have found to be very informative or even having a whole lot of common sense. There was someone in Danielle's chat who's no longer in that chat, I don't think. And her and I would have these debates all the time, and then I realized the type of person that I was having a debate with, and then stopped because I realized it was futile. This person was not going to understand anything that I was saying, and their mind was made up, and their mind was closed to any. They weren't willing to learn anything. Being there. So that makes sense. I could see a minister being a narcissist. I mean, it all depends. I mean, it just all depends. I'm gonna let's just for fun, right? Let's for fun. I know I've done this before, but let's I'm gonna play that interview again. So we're gonna go over that interview one more time. So yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm not telling anybody to subscribe to Plunder. I don't have anything against Plunder. I just don't agree with a lot of the stuff Plunder says. Plunder's a little too opinionated for me. But I don't have anything against. It's just not my thing. And yeah, this is all right. So, dude. All right.
Since the very first time, you were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home. And of course, I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing the investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And could I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, you know, said I still wasn't complying or said I was, you know, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time. Correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives. And so I'm not, you know, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, you know, they're detectives. They're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people obviously trying to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I'm not getting, like she's talking about that she wanted an attorney because, and this is the thing that's people are like, well, if she's, hey Mignon, people are saying, well, if she's an educator, why would she need help with the vocabulary? But I find it funny that she didn't word it correctly, but I know what she meant. She was hoping for an attorney to help her with legal terminology that she wasn't familiar with because she's not an attorney. And she didn't want the law enforcement throwing her curveballs. That is an indication to me also of a little bit of guilt. That's an indication to me that she's that she's trying to, if she had nothing to hide, then it wouldn't matter. The police could say whatever. But she's very, very, very concerned with how she's going to come out of this. That's what she's concerned about. She's concerned about how she's going to come out of this. She's not concerned about finding Gannon. She's not concerned with any of that shit. So I find that very, very interesting.
Help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye because I didn't want to expose
Trudy,
my family to it if all
I don't
these
have
things
any,
were going on.
I don't have anything against Plunder. I mean, I don't even know Plunder. I've just seen some of the videos, and like I said, it's just I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that she says. But that's not to say that I have a problem with anything that she does. It's just that we disagree on certain things. That's all. But I think she's very good at making videos, and she's I am in no way trashing Plunder. I promise you. I totally understand why people like Plunder. I get it. Totally.
You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know. But I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun. And my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life.
Yeah, I saw that YouTube monitors.
Over the keys that was in her purse.
I saw that too. Now, Yeah, I agree with you, Raquel, here. Yeah, it's really strange. She's notorious to me. To me, she's notorious for like starting off fine and then making a hard left turn into fucking sucking ass. she she goes, she's like, okay, and then she just makes it all about her, and she just comes off like totally like how much she sucks. Uh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, nothing is her fault. It's she takes no accountability at all. Um, I find that really, really strange. Um, and yeah, and Critical K, man, Critical K. We talked about this case, and she this case really gets to her, man. She almost didn't even want to do it. I don't know what she's going to do from here on out, but I remember her telling me she didn't even want to talk about it because of how people are acting, because she agrees, you know, this person, she's lying, but we still don't know anything. We don't know anything about their personal life, really. We just see a person here who kind of sucks. um but we don't know if she's committed a crime, so it's not fair to publicly crucify her. This is why I feel this way about this. Because I mean, everybody looks at her and they go, you know what, but she's you know, I don't feel bad for jumping to that conclusion because look at her. Well, the thing is I do, and I would. And the reason why is because we don't know. Yeah, do I think she sucks as a person? Sure, but we don't know what kind of hell she's going through inside. Maybe she just sucks at expressing herself. So here's the thing. And what happens is people say, well, you know, if I turn out to be wrong about her, then I'll apologize. But see, that's not good enough, because if you turn out to be wrong about her this entire time that this case has been open, and you turn out to be wrong about her, and you're accusing her of committing a crime, and you're creating that narrative, you can't undo that. You can't undo the stress you've put this person through. Um, you know, if you're wrong, you apologize, sure, but that doesn't take away from the hurt that you put that person through in the first place. So to me, it makes more sense just to not do it. To me, it just makes more sense to not uh, start making crazy assumptions and accusations about someone's guilt of a crime that we don't even know took place. Um, it makes more sense to me to simply play it safe, um, because even though I don't like the person, I do have empathy for her, because uh, I don't know if she did anything wrong. We still don't know if she did anything. We just see a person who sucks. You know, that's that's it. We see a person right now who sucks. So I'm not, you know, I'm not ready to. It's not. To me, it's irresponsible to accuse her of something that we have no idea what happened. So so yeah, to me, just saying, well, you know, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize. That's not good enough. That's not good enough, because if you're wrong, then you already put this person through a hell of a lot. You contributed to a really, really bad experience, on top of the fact that their loved one is missing. So you understand, it's not a cool thing to put somebody through, or to contribute putting them through it, because you just might be wrong. You never know if you're wrong. I'd rather not take that risk, even though I sit here and I look at her and I think she's hiding something. Absolutely, I think she's hiding something. I'm not denying that, but I definitely don't think that it's responsible to accuse her of something. um, I don't think it's good, because she may very well be innocent of any crime. She could just be guilty of just being a shitty person, who sucks on camera and can't seem to hide it very well. Yeah. Let's see. Grief and shock and anxiety is a universal expression. I don't any of these emotions there, but a lot of fluff talk, and in my eyes, that makes her dubious to me. Yeah. Exactly. We are one. That's exactly how I feel. That is exactly how I feel. Um, being a liar does not make you a murderer. Being a shitty person does not make you a murderer, or an accessory to kidnapping or whatever. Being a liar makes you a liar. Does being a liar make you a shitty person? Yeah, sort of, sure. That and other things, but I'm not, I'm not going to just call somebody a murderer, Like, I'm the kind of guy, listen, I'm the kind of guy, I can't stand thieves, right? If you steal something, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing lower to me, Now, does everybody steal at some point? Sure. Does everybody lie at some point? Sure. But somebody who just feels like they can just take whatever they want and not have to work for it, well, I don't like that. So if somebody accuses me of stealing, we're going outside. You know what I'm saying? You just disrespected me. You called me a name. You called me a thief. And I think I think it's a really low thing to be a thief. So if you call me a thief, I'm going to take offense to that because I'm not a thief. And I take pride in being somebody who works hard for what they have. I take pride in that. So to call me a thief is very, 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 very much an insult. It's extremely insulting. So I'm not going to just go ahead and call somebody a thief. So I'm damn sure not going to go and just call somebody a murderer who all we know right now is her stepson is missing. Somebody who she claims to care about very, very much. So I'm not going to contribute to that stress and make it worse for her if she could very well be telling the truth. So that's how I feel about that. Well, we don't know. Well, we don't know that, Mojo Joe. We simply just don't know uh, if she's committed a crime. You're saying at this moment in time, LE can't arrest her. I mean, how do you know that? I don't know that. I don't know whether they can or cannot arrest her. I don't know why they can't arrest her. I don't know what they want to arrest her for. I don't know if I don't know if they're frustrated over anything other than not being able to find Gannon. But the fact of the matter is they're looking for him. They are looking for him. So I don't think that they're, yeah. We have to have patience in this case, Wicked Witch. You're absolutely right. Let's watch the rest of this shit show here.
So they could take her car.
And they weren't in there.
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse. And they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officers?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got who's this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay. But they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was putting the handcuffs in the store, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. They could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check your chat. Doing great. Well, make sure that we're still got a recording. Still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while, my mic will do that, and I want to make sure it's not going to happen here. Okay. I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the source.
Oh yes, wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child you are in care of, but then people blame
Thank you, Firefly. I appreciate that.
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online.
The
for
balls
all
on
the things
this
they said
lady,
that I have
bro.
done or people have done.
She's like, yeah, first, of course, you know, to see Gannon again. But second, I'm going to be so ecstatic when I get to rub it in everybody's face and everybody has to apologize to me. I mean, what kind of shit is that, dude? This lady, yeah. Yeah, that shit's infuriating, dude. That shit's infuriating, man. You know, I don't have any respect for that. You know, I simply just don't have any respect for that type of behavior. I mean, the thing is some of this stuff, like, it's understandable. Sometimes we feel this way, right? Sometimes I feel like, you know what? Everybody fucking was on my shit and I knew I was right. And when I get to prove that I'm right, man, everybody's going to feel stupid as fuck for coming at me. So I get that, but it's totally inappropriate at this time when she's saying it. And I can't get enough of the dude interviewing her. Like, he has to have this poker face and ask her certain questions, but he, in his mind, you can see it in his eyes that he is thinking that this woman is a piece of shit. So it's really fascinating to watch this guy.
I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon, and I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind, and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario, and you know, he's always helpful. And he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house, and we have 2 little cute dogs. And he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. You know, sometimes with kids, we have to remind them and things like that, and that's okay. But he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind
Hey,
heart.
Don J, I honestly don't know
you
what
just
you're
said that you
talking
can't say
about.
anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't.
But we're cool.
Is there anything
You
you can
know,
do about the hike?
I mean,
Was there a hike?
I don't have any
You know
problems
what?
with you.
Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go
yeah,
and say that.
I,
you know, she came home from work after the hike, and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay. But you're allowed to
That's fine.
ask her. Sound okay so far?
Yes, I need Harley. Because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
You want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work, and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: is I don't think that she's lying about that.
You came home from work, and you can verify Gannon was at home.
I see that she's leading her.
Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home.
I see that she's leading her, right? And she's putting words in her mouth because her daughter, she's very intimidating, you know, and her daughter's just kind of like, well, what do you want me to say? I don't know what to say here. So it's more like, it's not so much that she's telling her what to say. It's that she's demanding that she says something on camera, and she's being very, you need to tell these people what's up, and she's just intimidated by her mom. I don't think that she's lying. I think that she's, I think that she has been told to lie by her mom before. So that's why she was like, well, what do you want me to say? And she's kind of like, well, you fucking tell her what happened, say what happened. Say yes, that you came home from work and he was there, like you said before. So I don't think that that's a lie, but you can tell that she's a very, very abrasive person. Tisha strikes me as the type of person who gets defensive when you don't need to be defensive. She feels attacked when you don't need to be attacking her. When you know what I mean? When you're just simply saying something, she will self-reflect, and then she'll get defensive and be like, you could be talking about something, but she'll take it like you're talking about her, and then she'll get defensive. That's the kind of personality she strikes me as.
Sound okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
Do you want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah.
And I don't, by the way that she talks, I don't get the impression that she hangs out with a lot of people her own age. I get the impression that she hangs around people that are very what's the word I'm looking for? I think that she hangs around a particular type of young person who probably just doesn't have a whole lot of responsibilities. Not other mothers or step parents of teenagers. I think she hangs out with teenagers more. She inserts herself probably in Harley's personal life a lot. That's the kind of person she's striking me as. I think that she thinks that certain people are cool and talking a certain way is cool. And she wants to be that cool because she lacks a certain level of maturity. That's the kind of person she strikes me as.
I told her she didn't have to be too in depth because she is still, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Because she's actually
she's
trying. She's actually trying to sound intelligent. She's trying to sound educated. She's making the effort to sound. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a woman who is very, very childish. I think she's extremely immature. I think that she sees herself as as much younger than what she is. And I don't know what she engages in habitually necessarily, but I don't think that she's happy with her station in life. She would prefer to be a younger, carefree person, but she does not like the responsibility of parenting.
Home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Oh, yes. Okay. I guess when.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house. And then it was just I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore. And for that reason, is because some things have been turned and twisted. And, that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that. And that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not going to say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind.
Right.
I could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. She's extremely sour.
This is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion.
I hope.
I agree with you, Trudy.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative. But to me, it's okay that they think those things because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that.
Like
my main thing
this
is
right
I would never
here,
want someone to think that I would hurt
this right here is an act. This right here, what she's doing is an act. She had time to collect her thoughts, and that's what she's doing right now. She's delivering her thoughts because she started to kind of lose it, and she started to kind of come unhinged a little bit. But now,
Gannon or any of the children in our home, because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract. So I gave up my license in that state.
No, she didn't give up her license in that state. It was taken away from her. And for exactly that reason, what happened was she did not live up to the contract. She left. She broke her contract illegally that she had with the school system. So that school system revoked her contract or revoked her license. Danielle read it out loud on Real Massacre Talk. She read the whole thing. She had it there and she read it. It's pretty yeah. So she doesn't, she takes no accountability at all. So it's funny because right now she's trying to show herself as an educated person. She's trying to come off as that, as this educated, established person. And then she had to explain that she's no longer licensed in that state because she gave up her contract. She gave up her license is how she worded it, but her license was taken away. So I find that interesting.
Working so hard in education. There's even, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon or any of the children in our home because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract. So I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, and
do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
It definitely is. And, here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like, if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like we should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for
What's
Gannon?
up, Antimone?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family.
Hey, Antimone, do you want to panel with me? Because I've got over 100 people in here. It'd be cool to let them know about the case that you're following right now and that you're involved in. But that's up to you. Yeah, the lie cry. This is total too. Like this is not her. They dubbed it in and tried to make it come off. How
is that we love you and miss you. And we hope that you come home soon.
Like, that's not her saying
Again,
that
I
right
can't
there
wait
in
for
real
you to
time.
Go home and let everyone know that you're
It's
okay.
totally clipped in,
We love
Jeanette.
you.
Weird, man. All right. Yeah, so just a minute. Antimone Layne is going to come on here. She has a channel and she is involved. She is sorry guys, I'm doing something else here, but I'm going to be bringing her on in just a second. Yeah, so I'm going to be dropping a link here in just a second. Antimony is very much enthralled in the Bianca Devins case. I don't know if you guys know about that case. She's Bianca Devins was murdered by a young man named Brandon Clark, and Antimony is actually she's she interacts with him. She communicates back and forth with Brandon Clark, and he just pled guilty. So I'm interested in what's going on with that case. I think some of you guys will be very interested in what's happening with that case. So I'm going to, as soon as she's ready, I'm going to bring her on and let her tell you guys about her channel, because I think all of you guys should be subbed to that channel. Yeah, it's very interesting. And I will, yes, hold on, let me do that too. All right. I am dropping the link to Antimone's channel right now. All right, and let me drop the link to Antimone to join us here. All right, there's the link, Antimone. All right. Yeah, so I'm really curious about what is happening with that case right now. And it's going to be interesting to talk to her about it, because she actually just wrenched me, and I was in that chat, and that was really, really interesting. What she deals with is very, very challenging. It's extremely challenging in that chat. And Okay. So, yeah, it's a social media murder. It's funny. There's a lot of ins and outs in this case. And what's funny is her and I, we don't really agree on a lot. But I can't really debate with her about it because I don't follow the case nearly as much as she does. But she's like involved. She's in contact with um, him. So I'm going to bring her on right now. What's up, Antimone?
Hey. Can you hear
How
me?
you doing? I can hear you fine. Can everybody else hear?
Awesome. And let me just click the live comments. Good, got it. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So tell us about this case that you're following.
Well, I've been working on it all day since, like, I swear about 7 o'clock this morning. And I talked to Brandon today. It is, I heard you saying it's a social media case, and that is accurate. It's one thing about it that I'm really fascinated by. Basically, for those of you who are not familiar with it, 17-year-old Bianca Devins, who is an e-girl. She had some popularity on Instagram, lived in upstate New York in Utica, was dating a 21-year-old named Brandon Clark, who is originally from the Fulton area, which is about 30 minutes west of Utica. And the nature of what kind of relationship they actually had is, of course, still ridiculously a mystery. They were dating. And they went to a concert in Queens, drove 4.5 hours to Manhattan. There was another guy there, so there was kind of this triangle. And there was a kind of a brewing intimacy between Bianca and this other guy, and they did kiss. And and then Brandon and Bianca drove home, and as the myth goes, to do the shortest version, they got into an argument, and he sliced her carotid. She died, and then he tried to commit suicide after that. He was unsuccessful.
What did he do to try to commit suicide?
He sliced his jugular.
Wow. Okay.
I'm actually going to ask him about that. I want to ask him if he meant to slice his carotid, and if he just did the other side by accident, or if there was some thought behind that. I'm kind of curious. But he survived, and he just pled guilty. He actually had a not guilty plea for since July, and changed his plea over the past month. And his sentencing is April 6th, and I will be there.
Okay.
I tried to make that as brief and as concise as possible.
I was I was in your chat your last live, and you were discussing the case, and mostly what you seemed to be discussing was the media, and how the media was covering the case. Yes. And how that was bothering you.
Well, also the attorneys, the strategy that the attorneys had, and basically they were equating his guilty plea with premeditation, which is just, it was a strategy, and they knew that it was going to fly, because that's what has really been, that view has really been promoted in media, and it's what the public kind of naturally gravitates toward. And I I don't know. I thought it was ridiculous. I'm aware of a lot of evidence that proves the contrary. A lot of it I can't share yet. I will
Right.
be able to, but by the way, you did a kick-ass job. You were amazing, and I just want to thank you again. You were really great.
What are you talking about?
You as my mod, you were
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it was necessary. That was a tricky thing because in your
Yes.
chat, you had one of Bianca's parents apparently.
It's her not he's basically an acting stepfather. Not to
Okay.
be disrespectful, he hasn't like adopted her.
Well, he referred to her as his daughter.
I'm aware of that. Yes.
But yeah, he was quite upset. And he felt as though you were, because you're in contact with there was another person in chat that was doing the same thing, but he was a little ruder.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, Roger's he's a piece of work. He's entertaining.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is, when it comes to family, it was weird because I kind of refused to delete comments from him.
Yes.
Because he's earned the right to have whatever feelings and express them however he wants.
I totally understand.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wasn't about to mute him out or anything like that. But this other guy, I realized it's got to be so distracting for you to keep a flow of information going.
Yes,
as you're talking and maintaining alive when you've got these distracting comments coming from people who are personally involved in some way, shape, or form with these people.
Well,
what
I did was,
in the case.
For the first time, and I don't like to do this, I didn't look at the chat. I felt it was more important for me to deliver the message that I had for my channel and for myself. Yeah. And I covered the chat up. Actually, I'd never done that before. Unfortunately, I kind of felt like, I wasn't able to interact with people because people weren't on that level. They weren't interested in interacting. They were just interested in reacting. And I didn't do much with that, so it was what it was.
Yeah, it's a hard. That's why I offered to wrench for you, because I was like, man, this must be really difficult.
No, you did great. You acted perfectly, so I appreciate it.
But yeah, I mean, I'll try to make the lives whenever I can.
No pressure.
But so if you guys sub, notice you'll notice this stuff happening in the chat, and sometimes it's actually people who are related to Bianca, and so it's a difficult thing to maintain, because one of the things that you're getting a lot of scrutiny over is you're being accused of basically sympathizing with Brandon,
right? Not with his actions, but with him as a person's kind of in those actions and separate from those actions.
Right, because of the fact that you're not looking at him as this horrible monster who committed this awful crime. People are upset with you for that.
Yes, that's okay. I'm getting used to it, and I'm not taking it personally. I need to view it objectively. Everyone is allowed to have their opinion, and I like disagreement. I like dissent because it generates conversation, and it generates, if everybody agrees, there's nothing to talk about. I like what Danette said. I'm glad you just highlighted that. I did do that. I did say that if there are friends and family members who are close to either Bianca or Brandon and they choose to be here, this may be very triggering for you. You may not be able to take this in. Yeah, I think it's important to do that. I mean, and you could see it was absolutely necessary. That's the thing about what draws me to your channel when you're talking about that case is so many times true crime for me. What bothers me about it
and what gets to me, and sometimes I just have to unplug and just not pay any attention to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Stay off the internet,
Mm-hmm.
just for a few days.
Right on. Right. Yep.
Because what happens is people tend to forget, these true crime cases, they're not, these are real people, and they're
Correct.
not just characters in some novel.
Correct.
Or,
Right on.
and so when I'm in your chat, I see you struggling and trying to get your message across, and it's really brave to do that, knowing that there's family members that are in the chat and they're trying to distract you. And so there's that, and there's the fact that they're in the chat, because
it's intimidating.
You get to see, it's intimidating. Yes, I can see that it's intimidating for you, but for me as a member of the chat, I'm getting their perspective too.
That's cool.
I'm not getting it in theory.
Yes.
I'm getting someone who is genuinely affected by this case.
Yes. Yes.
I'm getting their perspective.
Yes. I feel honored when they come in. Honestly, I feel honored.
Right.
I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. And I feel like that's why I want them to feel okay about coming in. And I don't want to. That's why I feel intimidated, because I'm so concerned about anything, saying anything that offends them or that makes them feel uncomfortable or unwelcome. I'm really, I want to make sure that doesn't happen from me as the host of my channel.
Because we've become good friends, and I see you being a very, very genuine and kind person, just generally. So,
thank you.
I know the place where you're coming from when you are talking to Brandon and staying in communication with him and empathizing with him. Because I see the side, I know the side of you that's doing that, and I know that it's coming from a good place. A lot of people don't, though.
No, of course not. I
Who
understand.
log on to your channel, they have no idea.
No.
So they just see you either as someone who is just trying to get clicks and views, by
Yeah, sure.
empathizing with a murderer. Or just somebody who's just genuinely trying to empathize with someone who you don't know what it's like to have experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
See, you and I share different opinions, because you feel like he is he's a victim in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And I disagree.
That's okay. No, it's cool. That's cool.
Right. And you talk to, I don't see any issue with, I think it's great that you actually communicate with him and talk to him and everything like that. But I'm of the firm belief that if you do some shit like he did, you lost your privileges of hanging out with regular people.
No, well, of course.
You can't be trusted in society again. You need to be put away.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't. Whatever happens to you happens. If it's hard time, then it's hard time. What you did got you there. If you get killed in prison, you did that. You know what I'm saying? You put yourself in a position to do that, to have to experience that. Whatever happens to you is a result of your actions. So that's how I am about it. But at the same time, I'm fascinated by you genuinely feeling more for this person than I do. And I respect it.
But that's what's so cool. I don't think many people can do what you're doing. And that's why it's very healthy, I think, your perspective.
I mean, I see a guy who I mean, what he did was awful. Like, I mean, to say the least, it's an understatement.
Yes.
I mean, he nearly severed her head, did he not?
Yes, closely, but not there. It was not decapitation, but
I mean, it
doesn't matter. It was horrific. Yeah. Either way.
Well, the crime itself, to me, it's very personal. I mean,
yes, you're right.
It's rage. That's rage.
Yes, it was.
That is you can't dispute that there was rage going on there. So I don't. Even if it's due to some sort of mental illness, this is not somebody that should be around other people.
And I agree, and believe it or not, he agrees.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there's no
Right.
he's not going to argue that. He wouldn't argue that with you either.
And see, there's the thing is, I do I think the guy's evil? Well, I don't know him. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know the guy,
Mhm.
but to me, evil. Nobody's evil until they do an evil thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. We all think about things. We all think about doing things, and we dismiss it, and we go, "Nah, I'll never fucking do it." What
Right, I know.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
But we have that part of us that goes, "That's awful," and sometimes we even feel guilty for even thinking it. But what happens with something like that person inside him did not pump the brakes.
Right, but the thing is, people don't understand they don't know the story up to that point. And it's not going to excuse it, but it's interesting, and I think it says a lot about human behavior, mental illness, substance use, abuse, and trauma, and blah blah blah. I think it's worth looking at. It doesn't excuse it; it never will, but it's worth investigating, and I find it fascinating. So,
Right. I mean, I've heard you talk about it, and some people feel like as though the fact that she seemed to be playing with his head and with his heart,
yes, indeed,
that somehow in some way justifies what happened to her. People take it that way when you bring it up.
Yes, that's true.
What would you say to that?
What would I say to that? It's very complicated. I do feel that she was engaging in risky behavior. I do feel that she was a victim also. I feel that they were both in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that in a way, if it wasn't Brandon, it could have been somebody else. I'm very distraught at the suffering that she has gone through. She's borderline personality. That's an incredibly complex illness. It's very difficult to diagnose. It's also very difficult to treat. She was young. She was only 17. We all know from stats that the human brain does not, impulse control is really not something that can be is not really developed in the brain until like 25. And here we have two people under 25, and I think that is something to look at as well. So I think they were both victims, and that's what makes it so incredibly fucking tragic.
Well, right, but
different victims in very different ways.
Yeah, I mean, so what does he say about it? What does Brandon say about his motives? What does he say? Does he make excuses for it?
No, never.
Okay.
I unfortunately I am limited to what I can share.
Because
at
it's
this
still
point,
an open case, right?
Yeah,
he still hasn't been sentenced yet, right? I get it. But yeah, so if there's something you can't answer, no hard feelings at all. I'm just curious.
Oh yeah,
have you asked him what he was thinking when this happened?
He's already shared everything with me. He's a very prolific writer. When he writes me a letter, it's like between 10 and 15 pages long. He offers information. He's very earnest. He's very he doesn't have anything to hide. He's not trying to make any excuses for what he did. He has told me pretty much everything in many different ways what was going on that night for him.
But I see her family also denying a lot of the claims that you
yes they are
fact. So I mean, are these things fact? How do you know these things are fact about Bianca?
because I do have access to certain information that is somewhat exclusive that pretty much nobody else has. Again, it will all come out eventually. But
Right.
and I know it sucks. It sucks. I want to come out with it right now and just lay it all out there, but I can't.
No.
And
I'm not
unfortunately,
trying.
it sucks because I'm like, people aren't really going to a percentage of people are not going to buy it until I can show the proof, and that's
Right.
okay. I understand that, and that's why it's frustrating for me. But
Yeah. I mean, and wouldn't you say? I mean, these things. Even me personally, even a 21-year-old should know that a 17-year-old girl is probably not going to act very responsibly when it comes to matters of the heart.
Yeah, we've actually, you and I have talked about this kind of thing, and we see it differently, which is totally cool.
Yeah, I see a 17-year-old girl being a 17-year-old girl. You see what I'm saying?
But a 17-year-old girl with borderline personality disorder is a very different animal, so to speak.
But again, not her fault.
No, that's why I said she's a victim.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
I mean, I think one reason this case really draws people in is the complexities, and there's just so many different facets to there's so many factors that came into play that night and that morning. We're talking about July 13th and 14th, 2019.
Right.
And something that he has said to me is that he's like, a lot of people are thinking that morning I just snapped and just out of nowhere this bolt of rage came through me and I did what I did. And he's like, that rage took years. That was like a storm that was developing for years. And it doesn't, something like that doesn't just happen on a whim.
What was his home like? Like his family? What was his relationship with his parents like? Can you talk about any of that?
His father was in and out of prison. He did not know that he thought his stepfather was his father until he was 4. And then his stepfather actually just kind of casually told me, I'm not your dad. Your dad is in prison. His parents struggled with substance abuse, both drugs and alcohol. He was in and out of the foster system. He has a couple of other siblings who actually he only got to see once a year because they were adopted by another family. He has a brother from the stepfather, so it's a stepbrother who he grew up with here and there, but who entered the military. So he's someone that's kind of distant at the moment, but who he was very close with. He was bullied in school. He was always afraid that the foster system was going to take him away. It was not a good environment. And he had trouble making friends. He's different. He's a very creative person. He has some eccentric qualities that I really relate to. And I think, people just kind of saw him as they always saw me, as some kind of weirdo that they couldn't really relate to. And every girl, and he said every girl that he'd ever been with had cheated on him. And that was a big trigger because his mother had cheated on his dad and he witnessed it. So there's a lot going on there was a lot going on in this family.
I mean, yeah, like, because I look back, I look at this and I think, man, this could have been so different for him.
Yes.
because a lot of there's also the theory that the reason why he would go for women who cheat on him is because they remind him of his mother.
Correct. Oh yeah, totally.
So
Absolutely.
he probably had this
Absolutely.
pattern,
Yes.
and he just didn't realize this.
Yep.
So he would subconsciously choose women that would cheat on him.
Yes.
And probably thinking that he could fix them.
Yes. What he did was every time they cheated on him, he would forgive them and go back.
Right.
He would take the shit. He would take it
Right.
and just and deal with it because that's what he saw, modeled for him at home.
Right. I mean, and he always fantasized like, I just wish my mom wasn't like this. So it's probably some sort of exercise in engaging with these relationships with women who are like this and thinking that he can change them in some way.
Yeah, and that to me is tragic. It's really
to fulfill that
really
void that he had as a child.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
But the thing is, though, like, I mean, yeah, all that did was just frustrate him more and more. Instead, it built. Instead of bringing him relief, it brought him more stress, and it brought him more rage and more anger.
You got it. Yep, you got it.
And this girl just couldn't. This girl just didn't stand a chance.
In a sense, but he also picked the wrong person. In that, he really fell hard. I do think that he has some obsessive tendencies for sure. And I think he really fell hard for Bianca. And I think that was a setup. He kind of set himself up in that sense, not really realizing it. And this is something that his family really doesn't like to hear, but it is a fact. I have proof. There were drugs involved. There was drinking involved. Everybody, well, it's very difficult because Bianca's family denies that Bianca ever did drugs or ever drank, and it's not true. And Brandon was not interested in drinking or drugs really before he met Bianca, and they were doing acid together. They were drinking. So that's another factor that you put two kids like this together, and then you add alcohol and drugs, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's like a freaking time bomb.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's difficult for me because Bianca's mother will not admit the truth, and I don't really know.
I mean, it doesn't matter though. I mean, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it does because why? I mean, why? I mean, a lie is a lie. Why? What's the point of lying? How is that going to protect anyone? I feel that the more we know about what really happened, the more we can work towards prevention and being aware, not burying the truth. I mean, that's
fair enough, but at the same time, one would argue that she's earned the right to remember her daughter however she sees fit.
Well, privately, but it's a high-profile case, so that makes it complicated.
Yeah, but it's still her daughter. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it being her daughter, I feel like she's earned the right to just see her daughter however she feels fit. I see what you're saying. Like, sure, we can learn from it and whatnot, but I mean, is it really hurting anybody if she's remembered as somebody who I mean, it's not going to change anything. Brandon is still, he's still in jail. He's going to be sentenced. He pled guilty.
Well, I will say someone just said Oaklancy. Sorry, Layne. That's like my name. Said, won't there be evidence at trial? There is not going to be a trial. He pled guilty. And if there were a trial, the drug thing would be that would be something that would have to be investigated.
Oh,
But there isn't
right.
now.
But that's my point. Does it matter now? Really?
Personally,
I mean,
that's just I'm fine with, you can disagree. I feel differently. I feel that I think lying in that capacity is harmful on a I just don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's not like for me to say what she should do for herself, but I don't think it's healthy for her, Bianca's mother, and I don't think it's healthy in general.
I mean, yeah.
That's just me. That's just me. That's just me.
I get you.
All good.
Yeah, and Mignon is on your side too. There, she's saying, but the truth is the truth. She's saying the truth is the truth, right? Well, yeah, I get it. But I feel like in this particular case, at this point, I mean,
well, here's another question.
If she chooses to visualize her daughter being a certain way, then
drugs
she's earned
were
that
involved.
right.
So drugs were involved. So the fuck
So,
what? Yeah, well, so
I mean,
what? Why not just say, okay, yeah, there were drugs. So, why is that such a big deal?
Because of the way that she probably looks at drugs and drug use, So, maybe she just looks down on drugs and just never saw her daughter being the type to ever do them. And,
well, again, I'm so sorry to say this because it's kind of a tease, but like I have more information than most anyone is privy to that I cannot discuss. And that's what makes it more complicated than the situation that we're discussing at hand here. So,
right.
I'm sorry.
You're
it
good.
Sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah, in theory here I'm agreeing with just Shelly. That's basically what I'm saying here is
no, I get it. I totally understand. I get what you're saying.
Perception of drug use, and she's 17. It's I don't know. When it comes to kids, I'm protective of kids. And she's a kid, and I don't know. I see things a certain way. I'm kind of a traditionalist, and I'm not.
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah. I like it because I like having your perspective because it makes me think. I will adhere to my own perspective just because it's something I feel very strongly like in my soul. I can't help it. But I love it percolates my brain. It's cool. It makes me think about things differently. I like it. It's great.
Nice.
So thank you.
So when do you know when his sentencing is going to be?
April 6th.
April 6th. Wow, that's a while away.
I know. It's like it's almost a little less than 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll fly by.
It will. I know it will. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will definitely be there, and
that's interesting.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be a 1-day event.
Well, yeah. Hopefully we can get you to over 1,000 subscribers.
I wonder if that's ever going to happen.
And then you can go live. You can go live from your phone in the courthouse. Oh
my gosh.
If you wanted to. I mean, but
I don't even know if they would let me have my. Probably won't be allowed to have phones.
They might not.
Outside though. Outside.
You'll be able to. Yeah, you'll still be able to film the courthouse and.
Yeah, right on.
People want to see that stuff. People are interested in this case.
Yep.
And I think more people should know about the fact that you were in direct contact regularly with Brandon Clark.
Right.
You guys, you communicate very candidly with each other.
Yes.
So
you're absolutely right.
And I think that makes it very, very interesting to follow this case, especially since family members join the chat quite a bit. And it's a challenging chat to moderate because
I'm sure
it's not even like there's that many people in it. It's that there's people who feel personally hurt by you having an okay, decent relationship with somebody who murdered somebody that was very close to them in such a brutal way.
Correct.
So that's challenging for them, and so I have to like be really, really careful about
Yes.
what comments I delete.
Oh, you did wonderfully. You did wonderfully. You have you just have a really good sense for it, and I love the comments that you made were wonderful too. So you rock.
Right. Thanks. No, yeah, I appreciate you. But I am starving, and I think I'm going to call it.
Likewise.
So
Nice.
guys, I'm dropping Antimone's channel again in the chat. So
Thank
make sure
you.
to subscribe to it.
And thank you again for having me on. That was that's very cool. I love being on your channel. It's great. Great people here.
Yeah, no, I love my chat. My chat is fantastic. I was surprised so many people showed up too. Thanks everybody for coming and joining the chat. I had a blast.
Nice, me too.
I love talking with you guys. So yeah, man, we're gonna do this again very, very soon. So
I'll drop
maybe
out.
late tonight.
See you guys. Thanks,
Later,
Claire.
guys. Hey, no problem, Antimone. Thank you. All right, guys. We will do this again very soon. Peace.